Imagine having the smartest supercomputer in the world right in your pocket. Beat. It's ready to solve almost any problem. But, you realize you're actually falling behind. Why? Well, because you simply don't know the right way to talk to it.
Yeah, and the landscape is shifting so aggressively that old habits are already obsolete. So, welcome to today's deep dive. We've got a fascinating stack of updates to get through.
We really do. Okay, so let's unpack this. We're looking at a massive structural shift in artificial intelligence today. Our mission is to explore how models are literally shrinking to fit our personal devices. We'll also examine how a new skills gap is quietly dividing the modern workforce. And finally, we'll look at how major tech players are making ruthless bets on our physical future.
The rules are being rewritten daily. It's incredibly fast-paced.
It truly is. So let's start with the physical constraints of AI. We all know these models are incredibly powerful, but running a large language model locally is exhausting for standard computers.
Right. You typically need massive, highly expensive GPUs, and you need enormous amounts of RAM.
Exactly. That hardware barrier is the fundamental bottleneck. It's why AI has remained so incredibly centralized. You can't just run a frontier model on a standard laptop.
No, you need vast, expensive data centers.
Well, until now, apparently.
Yeah.
Google Research just introduced something called TurboQuant, and it completely changes the math on this.
It's a massive breakthrough. TurboQuant is this radical new compression method. It shrinks the memory usage of a model by up to 6 times.
Wow.
And in the exact same time, it speeds up attention computation by 8 times.
Let's slow down and clarify that. Attention computation is essentially how the AI figures out which words matter most.
Yeah. It's the core engine of how these models understand context.
So making that process 8 times faster is staggering. It's like packing a giant suitcase of data into a tiny carry-on without wrinkling a single shirt.
Right, and to take that carry-on analogy further, most compression methods usually destroy the quality of the model's output. It's like folding the shirt so tightly you just ruin the fabric completely. But TurboQuant doesn't do that. It maintains the output quality perfectly.
How exactly are they pulling that off? Because in software, compression almost always demands a heavy trade-off.
What's fascinating here is the underlying architecture shift. Instead of storing large vector data in traditional grid formats, they pivoted. They used something completely different called polar quant.
Vector data being mathematical lists representing how concepts relate to each other.
Spot on. So polar quant works by changing how that math is actually mapped. Instead of plotting data on a standard grid, which takes up massive space, it maps the data using polar coordinates.
Using angles and distances instead.
Exactly. It's vastly more efficient for the computer to process. And it works smoothly on existing open models. You can apply it to models like Gemma or Mistral without any retraining.
That's incredible.
Yeah, it compresses cache precision down to just 3 or 4 bits.
Meaning it drastically reduces the mathematical footprint of the AI's short-term memory?
Yes, and it does this without making it forget how to speak intelligently. There's 0 drop in output quality.
Whoa! Imagine running a massive brain locally without a giant data center. 2-sec silence. Does this mean cloud computing for AI is suddenly obsolete?
Not obsolete, no. But this pushes inference directly onto cheaper hardware and mobile devices.
So we train models centrally, but run them locally right in our pockets.
That is exactly the shift we're seeing right now.
Because these models can now run on much smaller hardware, developers are shifting focus. They're aggressively building tools that let you control AI locally.
The power is moving out to the edges. We saw this clearly in the recent live OpenClaw Mastery workshop.
I happened there.
It was an intensive live build session. It provided a complete blueprint for users to own their private AI agents.
Right.
It showed developers how to connect to Claude or GPT, or even how to run open models entirely locally on their own machines.
What really stood out to me was the deployment strategy.
Right.
They were deploying these private agents directly into apps that people already use daily.
Yeah, platforms like WhatsApp, Telegram, and Zalo.
That's incredibly smart. You aren't asking a user to completely change their daily habits. You're putting the intelligence right into their existing communication flow.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, friction is the enemy. The wave of new empowered tools hitting the market right now is just relentless.
Here's where it gets really interesting. Let's look at a few of these tools to see how they function.
First, we have Claude Code's auto mode. This lets Claude approve file writes and bash commands inside isolated environments.
Bash commands being instructions typed directly into your computer's operating system.
Exactly. It's a massive time saver for software engineers. It automates the tedious back-end work.
Then there's Agent Place. This tool lets you build highly specialized agents easily. You can deploy them for lead routing, document analysis, or complex scheduling.
We're also seeing unique tools like Layer-Proof Mat. It automatically repurposes your social media posts. It generates unique platform-specific formats for LinkedIn, X, Instagram, and TikTok instantly.
And for the visual builders, there's Alma. It seamlessly combines language models with 3D generation. You could use parallel agents to create interactive apps and 3D assets quickly.
It's wild.
All sounds magical. But I have to admit something here, Pete. I still wrestle with prompt drift myself when trying to chain these tools together.
It's genuinely difficult. Prompt drift is when an agent slowly forgets its original goal over time.
Yeah.
The orchestration is undeniably the hardest part. You're basically managing a complex team of digital workers.
So let's circle back to that OpenClaw workshop.
Sure. Why is the OpenClaw community focusing so heavily on deploying to chat apps like WhatsApp?
Well, because users absolutely hate downloading new apps. They want AI assistants natively where they already talk.
Meeting users in their existing chats rather than forcing them into new apps.
Exactly. Keep the intelligence right where they already live.
Yeah.
So we have these incredible local models now. We have powerful agent tools everywhere. But what happens to the humans actually trying to use them?
This raises an incredibly important question. The workforce is shifting underneath us.
Anthropic's head of economics, Peter McCrory, just released some sobering new research.
The findings are actually quite counterintuitive. Everyone initially expected immediate mass layoffs across the board.
Right.
But there are no widespread job losses yet. Unemployment in AI-exposed roles is completely stable right now.
Companies aren't firing people, but the baseline expectations are changing rapidly. The real shift is that power users are pulling significantly ahead.
It's a massive divergence. Early adopters are using AI for rapid iteration. They use it for instant feedback and complex problem solving. This makes them vastly faster and more capable than their peers.
They're doing weeks of complex work in mere days.
Anthropic's CEO, Dario Amodei, issued a very specific warning about this trend. He believes entry-level white-collar roles will deeply feel this impact within 5 years.
The productivity floor is rising.
Yeah.
The baseline of what is expected is just much higher now.
Yes. And the usage data shows another highly concerning trend. AI adoption is currently skewed much higher in wealthier regions.
Which means the capability gap between different populations of users is actively growing.
It's compounding daily. The people learning these tools are accelerating rapidly. Everyone else is basically standing still.
Is this gap just about learning a new software interface like we did with Excel?
No. It is fundamentally different. It is about learning how to successfully delegate cognition and strategy.
It's less about clicking buttons and more about managing a digital brain.
That's a perfect way to put it. You're stepping into a managerial role over logic itself.
Sponsor.
Welcome back. We were just talking about the human skills gap. But while everyday workers try to navigate this, the tech giants are making entirely different calculations.
Yeah, the companies controlling the actual infrastructure are making massive, ruthless pivots.
Meta is the prime example of this dramatic whiplash right now. Mark Zuckerberg is pushing incredibly aggressively for, quote, superintelligence growth.
The internal math there is brutal. Look at two staggering facts from our sources today. Meta recently laid off 700 employees.
Yeah.
At the exact same time, they offered their executives massive stock packages. Packages worth up to $921 million.
It's a massive realignment of capital. Smaller core teams, much bigger financial bets on infrastructure.
They're also looking outward, though. They just launched Meta Small Business. It's a new initiative to help entrepreneurs build and grow using their specific AI tools.
They want everyone locked into their ecosystem early. But, you know, not every major pivot works out perfectly. Look at OpenAI's recent public stumble.
This was deeply fascinating. ChatGPT essentially tried to become a shopping destination. They wanted to be the next Amazon.
You completely flopped.
Users just didn't bite. They didn't want to buy things that way.
Does ChatGPT's shopping failure expose a fundamental limit to what people want from LLMs?
Well, it shows people trust AI to help them brainstorm and discover, but not to actually swipe their credit cards.
People want an AI shopping advisor, not an automated AI checkout register.
Right. Trust is highly contextual. We trust the machine to think. We just don't trust it with our wallets quite yet.
But the physical domain of AI is expanding anyway. We've seen it shrink into our phones. We've seen it heavily disrupt our offices.
Its final frontier is breaking out of the screen entirely. It's aggressively entering the physical world.
The financial investments here are massive. Qcraft just announced a staggering $100 million fundraise. They're scaling physical AI and autonomous driving.
Their Q-Pilot system is already running in over 1 million vehicles right now. It seamlessly covers about 30 different vehicle models.
And they plan to add 50 more models by 2026. They're also moving into level 4 logistics.
Meaning vehicles operating entirely without human input in specific areas.
Exactly. They are also actively launching robotaxi pilots.
So AI is driving our cars, but it's also manifesting in our culture and our creativity.
Google just released Lyria 3 Pro. They integrated it directly into Gemini, Vertex AI, and Studio.
What does it actually do?
It generates highly structured, completely original 3-minute music tracks. It gives creators immense granular control over the composition. The AI is literally writing our pop songs now.
The cultural integration is happening everywhere, even in politics and education. For example, at a recent White House event, we saw this clearly. Former First Lady Melania Trump was seen walking alongside a humanoid robot. She stated her belief that children should be educated by humanoid educators.
It really shows how quickly this hardware is entering mainstream cultural conversations. We're moving rapidly past just software on a screen.
It's all deeply connected.
What connects an autonomous robotaxi, a 3-minute AI pop song, and a humanoid teacher?
They all represent the outsourcing of complex, previously human-only tasks, driving, art, and care into physical or structured algorithms.
We are handing over creativity, transportation, and education to autonomous algorithms.
It's a profound shift in what we consider uniquely human territory. Let's take a step back and look at the big picture we've painted today.
The physical constraints of hardware are dissolving. Innovations like TurboQuant are making models much smaller, faster, and cheaper to run locally.
Because of this breakthrough, builders are suddenly able to create highly personalized agents. These agents are smoothly moving into the apps we already use daily.
But this rapid technological acceleration is quietly dividing us. The modern workforce is splitting into power users and everyone else.
All while big tech places their billion-dollar bets. They're laying off staff to fund a future of physical and superintelligent AI.
The world is being rewired from the inside out. Thank you so much for taking the time to learn with us today. Understanding these dramatic shifts is the first step to navigating them.
Always keep questioning the data you're given. Beat. If memory keeps shrinking to the point where advanced models live entirely on your phone, what happens when your local AI agent eventually knows your habits, your work, and your mind better than you do? Out to your own music.